Hi, my name is John Winans. Welcome to Spring 2022, Section 1 of Computer Science 340, Data Structures and Algorithm Analysis. In this video, I'm going to show you where everything is so you can find what you need. If you found this video, you most likely have received the email from the Blackboard announcement for this course with a link to the course webpage, which is right here. All the material for this course will be made available via this web page here, as well as Blackboard. Specifically, your grades will go into Blackboard and announcements will be into Blackboard. So make sure you turn on your notifications so that you get emailed when changes are made to the Blackboard site when we post grades and make announcements. The lecture videos will mostly be posted on YouTube whenever it is possible for us to do so. The course website includes a link to the syllabus. We'll talk about that in a minute. And it includes information about your instructor, myself, how to email me. My office hours will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays at these times. And if that doesn't work for you, you can send me an email. Just schedule an appointment. We'll find some other time when we're all available. Your TA is here. The email for your TA is right here. Their office hours will be here. And again, if those hours don't work well for you, you can go ahead and ask to schedule an appointment there as well. Now, during these crazy pandemic times, right now we're meeting. The first week is fully online at Northern Illinois University this semester, and I don't know if that'll continue or not. So until future notice, all the office hours will be held in Microsoft Teams, unless we otherwise, schedule something via an appointment, all right? This will change throughout the semester if we end up moving into the face-to-face mode as we move along. Now, this link to the syllabus, let's take a quick look through here. Now, as is the case with the university course, the syllabus for this section in this semester outlines the rules for this specific course. In here, you'll find things like how we will weight your final grades, how it'll be comprised of all the different pieces, what letters will be, assigned to what grading scales. By now, you should know about all this fun stuff, okay? As I said, we're going to be posting our grades in Blackboard. We're going to try and keep it up to date as soon as possible. You hand in an assignment within a couple of days. We hope to have the grades posted. Do not ask when your grade will be posted. It'll be posted as soon as it will become available, okay? We strongly recommend this text. Now, in the schedule that's on the main website, we include references to various chapters that cover the subject that you see in the topics listed over here. Of course, you can always use the index and find them yourselves, or Google and find writings on the internet. This material is well documented and available in many resources. So if you need extra help, there is this textbook, as well as a few others that come recommended from various faculty here, okay? There is no attendance record. Show up, don't show up, it's on your own. You are responsible for every single thing that is said in class, in the video lectures, and so on, okay? But you don't have to physically be there if you can otherwise somehow gain that knowledge, shared notes, etc. Doesn't matter. Words about the exams will be taken when the time is scheduled to be taken. If you miss one, you get a 0. You must, in advance, schedule an alternate place and location if you have a conflict or a problem that the university recognizes warrants doing so, okay? Same thing holds true with the final exam. The university has an official schedule for finals. I will announce it more than a week in advance for all exams. The specific dates and times will be announced more than a week in advance so that we all have a chance to know about these things, okay? Programming assignments, I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. Read it. The short of it is, you will be graded solely on your program's ability to run on this machine right here. We have two, actually. Hopper and Turing are the names of the two machines. They're owned and operated by the Department of Computer Science, and this is where whatever software on here is what we will use to grade your assignment. If you run your program on your own PC or on a Raspberry Pi or on something somewhere else, that's great. Okay, and I would encourage you to do so. However, you must make sure that it runs on Hopper. This is how we're going to grade it. Okay, it doesn't matter if it works somewhere else. The goal is this machine right here. All right. And it goes on and on about that. We talk about grading. When you hand an assignment, you must put in a doc box to identify who you are, what section you're in, and your name and your Z number. Otherwise, we can't grade your program. We honestly can't find out who you are solely through the GitHub mechanism that we use in this class. You have to tell us who you are, or you get a 0, okay? If you need a computing account to get onto Hopper, if you haven't done so in the past, this is the information you need in order to get one. By default, if you have a Z number at the university, your Z number is your account. What this phone number here is for down here is if it doesn't work for you and it needs to be fixed. Don't call me because I'm not in charge of your Z number, nor am I in charge of Turing and Hopper. You need to look at the syllabus, read the syllabus, and react accordingly. All you're going to do is waste your time if you come to me for these things that have to do with university resources. I don't have any control over them, okay? A quick reminder here that Turing and Hopper use different passwords than Blackboard and Wi-Fi and stuff. Okay, the university uses one password to get on the Wi-Fi, and it's the same for getting onto Blackboard. Okay, the Unix computing account for the Department of Computer Science on Turing and Hopper, okay, is different than their passwords for the rest of the campus. So you need to log in and get this set up independent of anything else you've done on the campus stuff. If you have trouble with your password on Turing and Hopper, you email this guy right here, Kirk Duffin, okay? He's the one who sets your password. Please carbon copy me so I know what's going on, but don't expect me to be able to fix anything because he's the system administrator, all right? If you need help, contact me, contact your TA. The university has all kinds of other services and departments for like accessibility. Right now, that's not a problem when you're not on campus, but when we get around to having face-to-face class time, you need accommodations for the classroom or something, you know how to contact the DRC office at this email address. If you don't know what this is, it probably does not apply to you. These are stressful times, okay? There are other services at the university. If you're having trouble, you can contact student counseling and things like that, all right? And again, the Disability Resource Center as well. Cheating is completely intolerable, okay? Read all this fun stuff down here. If you get caught cheating, you're going to fail. It's plain and simple. The university can even take matters further if they do so desire. All right? It's not just you're going to fail one course. You could end up in a lot of trouble if you cheat. Just don't do it. Okay? So that's a high-level review of what's in the syllabus. You know what's there. You know how to get to it now. If you need that information or want to get more detail. All right? The schedule section down here. This is tentative, all right, and who knows what could happen during these times. These are the topics we want to cover in what order throughout the semester. This red bar here will move down as the semester, as time progresses. This is the week we're in right now. Next week, red bar will move down here, okay? So it'll just walk its way through the semester here. Mostly to let me know what's going on, as you can't remember whether it's week 1, 2, or which date it is and stuff like that. It moves down on I think every Monday. Okay, so the first week you're watching the first lecture here, and then you're going to move on to Git and how to use GitHub, how to use Doxygen to document your programs, and how to use these tools, assert macros and Valgrind. I got a couple of videos in here showing you how to use these tools. Trust me, you want to know how to use them. All right. When the time comes and you can't debug your program, this is going to the Valgrind is definitely going to be your friend. You're also going to want to run Valgrind certainly before you submit your program to be graded, okay? Because sometimes programs appear to work, but they don't. There could be something subtle broken inside there. And Valgrind may find the kind of problems that you might miss. And the reason I say this is because the TA, when they grade your homework, will grade it by running it through Valgrind. So again, don't say, oh, it works for me. No one cares, okay? Does it work when Valgrind runs it on Hopper, okay? Watch the video. It'll be an eye-opener if you've never seen tools like that before. And the semester will move on. The topics go along here. Sometimes there's links in here to various web pages like STL strings. We'll go over to cppreference.com, okay? And this is a very formal reference document telling you how this object works. We'll use this a lot throughout the semester, okay? This is these are excerpts from the actual language specification organized in a nice indexed manner in a website. This is the sort of document you need to learn how to read and understand when we use these various objects and things like that. It is a lot of material, and it prevents you from having to do an enormous amount of coding. So if it takes you a half an hour to read one web page, you're way better off than spending 3 days writing your own stack or set class, all right? Trust me, you want to learn how to use these instead of writing your own. Very much so, okay? Anyway, that's what these things all link to in here. You can see when the exams are in the semester. There's your spring break. We're going to have an assignment due every week. There's not an exam, okay? The first one is a walkthrough of basically a dry run. We're going to write an assignment, submit it, make sure that your Turing and Hopper accounts work, make sure that you can send your files over to GitHub to be graded, and so on. In this first assignment, you don't have to do any real coding. We give you all of the things that you need to hand back in. All right, so what we're doing in assignment 1 is simply verifying that everything works. Okay? Sometimes it's harder to get logged into something than it is to write a 10,000-line program. All right? Let's get all that out of the way the first week. That's the goal of this first assignment. There's another video on how to do the assignment and how to use GitHub. Okay? And we walk through every last detail in there. You're going to want to watch that before you start this assignment. Okay? To that end, let's scroll down below the schedule here. The assignments, I'll try to post the due dates in here as well as on Blackboard, okay? So it'll show up exactly what date it's due. And officially, I make them due before midnight on this date here, which is going to be this Friday. Okay, so hand it in before Saturday. If you don't hand it in on time, the rules are outlined in the syllabus. What happens? So buried down in here somewhere, it'll say if you hand it in late, 1 day late, you will lose 10% off your final grade. Here it is, the 48 hours late, 10% off for the first day, another 10% off on the second day. If it's more than 2 days late, in other words, this assignment's due on Friday. If you hand it in after Sunday, it's too late and you'll get 0 points. So you get up to 2 days late with a penalty. No one gets more than 2 days extension, okay? Don't use all the extensions. All you're going to do is lose all your points and get a bad grade, all right? So it's due on Friday. Hand it in before the end of the day on Friday. But on the other hand, I try to do you a favor. I try to make everything due on a Friday so that if you can't get it done during the week, you get too much work or something like that, you can take your weekend. Presumably, you've got more time then. You can actually then apply to getting the work done, all right? But you got to have it in before Monday or you end up with 0, okay? Here's some announcements. It just simply says, come back here and check the website from time to time. When I make changes to this web page, I will do my best effort to announce what has been changed by posting an announcement into Blackboard. This link here I note is some C programming lectures. If it's been too long since you've done some C++ programming and you need to catch back up, there's a link to 501. Now, that may seem weird, but 501 is a graduate level course. It's a little different than 241, which is the prerequisite to this course, but if you look at these topics, most of them are the same. And quite frankly, last time I taught this, it was during the pandemic. I myself had COVID, so I ended up missing part of the semester. So this whole thing kind of eroded into really pretty much 241. You don't have to watch everything in here, but if you scroll down here, you can see these are all the links to all the lectures in here and some handouts and things like that if you need help. Okay, so if actually those are handouts up there, the videos are down here, I'm sorry. How to look at things like complexity, how sort algorithms work, and things like that. How to classes, references, strings, pointers, etc., etc. All these lectures in here are yours for free for the taking. If you have fallen behind, you're going to want to review these. Okay, that's why this link is in here. Here's a link to talk about the documentation standards. I even have a whole video on that. You want to watch the video. They're very specific documentation. Students complain when they lose points. I don't know how to help you more than walking through the entire process and explain the philosophy and show you the tools. Okay? Just watch the darn video. If you're on Windows and you can't log into the department servers or don't know how, you can install this thing called PuTTY. A lot of students use this. It's very popular if you're on Windows. And this is the installation instructions that are compatible with the servers at NIU. Okay? If you do this, read very close how to run it in here. Okay? Somewhere along here. Oh, where's the picture? I'm sorry. How to, it's the third one. It'll be the last one, right? It tells you how to fill out the little pop-up window. Pretty much PuTTY is an icon. You click, this thing pops up. You need to put the name of the host you want to connect to in there. The port should be 22, and SSH should be clicked in here. Once you've done that, you can click open, and a window will pop up and give you a terminal window, much like the ones that you'll see in my videos, okay? If you want to save time, once you've filled all this out, instead of hitting open, you can type in something here like Turing, or just name this setup and hit save. Then in this window here, it will say Turing or whatever you called it in the future, and you can simply just double click on that name rather than filling this thing out every single time, okay? If you've never logged in Turing or Hopper before, when the terminal opens up, it'll look like this, and you type in your Z number, and then you're going to type in your password. The password is going to be given in the Blackboard announcement that you probably read to get the link to this video and my website, okay? You type in your Z number for your login with a lowercase z, okay? Then when you type in your password, if you read all this in here, what happens is the very first time it will tell you that you have been denied access because it has to create your account on the server. So then close the terminal window, open it back up, and try to log in a second time, okay? When you log in a second time, you will then get access to your account, okay? It might ask you to change your password. If you do, it'll ask you for your old one again, and then you're going to have to type in your new one. You've probably been through this on websites, and a lot of places things do that. So read very closely the messages that come up in the terminal window if it asks you to change your password. It tells you exactly what you need to do, but it might be a little noisy, okay? So make sure that you pay attention when you're first getting connected. One note about using PuTTY or anything, really, if you SSH into Hopper and you repeatedly type in the wrong password, eventually the university will cut you off and block you access to your account. If that happens, you need to send an email back to Kirk Duffin, the email address in the syllabus, and tell him that this has happened so he can unblock you. Otherwise, you don't get any access at all. Now, keep in mind, the blocking happens on a per server basis. And Turing and Hopper are identical. Once you've logged in and set something up on one of those, it will automatically be copied and mirrored onto the other server. Okay? So you can use either Turing or Hopper at any time. So if one of those machines is down, you can use the other one. Okay? The other thing is, if you get blacklisted on one of those two servers, you get cut off. You're blocked. You can't log in anymore. Try logging into the other one. Okay? But don't just assume, just because one's locked you out, that it's okay to ignore it and use the other one. I mean, obviously, you got locked out once. You might get locked out a second time, and then you got nothing. So as soon as you get locked out, get a note back over to Kirk to unlock your thing, resolve the problem, fix your password, whatever it is, okay? Then you have access again to both systems, all right? Okay, so now if you're not on Windows, life is a little bit easier, in my opinion. You can just use command line SSH and command line SCP. There's some links down in here on how to do it. If you're on Windows and you want to click on things for the rest of your life, you can install this thing called FileZilla. You can tell by my attitude, I never use tools like this. There's like 9 tons of stuff on the screen. I mean, some people like this, and if you prefer it, knock yourself out. But this sort of a tool, if you're going to be a real programmer, is not what you want to be using, because you can't write a script to automate anything. Right? This is okay for one-offs, and it's probably fine for this course, but it really is, in my opinion, very cumbersome. Now, you might think Git is cumbersome, but Git will, in many ways, alleviate the need for this. And if you work in this field, you'll use Git or something like Git. It's a version control system. All projects, all managers use systems like that. So that's why we use it one of the reasons we use it in this course. So get used to it and get away from all these little crutches, because all they're going to do is waste your time. All right, let me close all these extra windows in the syllabus. Get back to the course information. So that was your puttying, how to log in and manage your account. Some of this has how to use Unix, a bunch of commands in here. If you've never used it before, read these. Nano is an editor that some people use. I don't recommend it at all. You can if you have to. It is the worst case scenario. It's terrible. Use an editor like Vim. Okay, so down here it talks about the VI editor. That's just the old name for Vim. And there's another system called Emacs, which is probably talked about down here. This is a little bit fancier than Vim, but it's really more if you're want to write Lisp programs and things. This is a really fancy editor. I tend to favor Vim. Okay, I grew up on Vim. I know how to use Vim. That's what I use. There's even a little tutor app that you can run. You're going to want to use an editor on Hopper and Turing that you can run inside your PuTTY window, and not just editors that run on Windows or on your desktop, okay? Trust me, learn how to use Vim. Okay, what else is going on? Read this thing. Read this, understand it, okay? Never, the short of it is, never use any of these characters here and up here in any file names ever. Don't put spaces in your file names or any of these other things, okay? It shows that you have absolutely no idea what you're doing when you're running on applications that run on servers, okay? This talks a little bit about why that is. Read it, know it, love it. In this class, you use any of these things, you'll probably end up with a 0, because we won't be able to grade your assignment because you've done something that triggers problems down here, okay? Just don't do that. Here's some help if you never used Blackboard before. The university has a little help site for that. Click that, read it, know it, love it. Now notice this is yellow here. See, this one's green. The one up here is green. These bars, these heading bars, if they're green, these are formerly part of the course. You want to have seen these. You want to know them. If they're yellow, what happens is these are kind of extra information you may or may not want to know. Okay, if you're stuck on Windows and you want to use Linux, you don't want to buy another machine, you can install something called WSL, which is Windows System for Linux, or Windows subsystem for Linux, I believe it's called. And there's a link in here. You can Ubuntu is incredibly common, super duper popular version of Linux. We call it distribution. And there's a website here that talks about how to install this using a thing called WSL, where all of Linux will run in a window on your Windows platform. Okay, this is, in my opinion, easier to use than things like PuTTY. You can do as you wish. Just FYI, that's available to you in here. These yellow bar lectures up here are more links into some of the videos in that 501 class, okay? These are very specific subset of the 501 lectures that are most useful, in my opinion, for you to understand and use in 340, okay? If you forget how pointers work, I got 3 whole lectures over there. How do strings work? How does references, classes, C-type? How do you run the debugger? Okay, these are great review lectures if you forget. This one right here, you know, I don't force you to watch these. These are not formally part of the class. You should know everything that's in these videos here. But I happen to know that students will lose letter grades if they don't know what's in there. These are the most important of what I'll call the yellow bar lectures right here. How to read data and how to write data. Okay? Most likely, unless you were obsessive about learning C++ when you took the prerequisite courses, there will be material in these lectures you never knew. Okay? And if you don't know, if you know what's in here, your life will be a lot easier. Okay? Your output will always be perfect instead of just almost right, and you lose points in formatting your output in this class. Okay? These are some library reference links to more documentation online. We use GetOpt from time to time in this class. It's not taught in the prerequisite courses at NIU. I put together a lecture in here, more of a free association, not unlike this introduction right here that I'm recording right now, where I go over how to use this manual page and I type in a sample app and I show you how to get command line arguments into your C++ program using this library function, okay? Do not cobble yourself together your command line args. Watch this video if you don't already know how to use GetOpt. Do not write your output and try to create a tabular form before you've watched the formatting your data to standard out. Okay, to see out here. Okay, trust me. These are going to be super much your friends. You're going to have problems with the compiler. Watch these videos if you don't already know how to deal with errors and warnings you get regarding signedness in loop iterators and things like that. How to deal with unused parameters and functions. Okay? You want to know how to do this stuff, or your programs won't compile. You might end up with 0 just because of something that's a warning. Okay? And it'll waste a huge amount of your time learning this and trying to figure it out on your own. These are a couple of simple little videos right here that answer these questions. It helps you understand how you want to think about these things. These are some lectures on a certain Valgrind, which are the ones that are also linked to in the schedule above. This actually, I guess, is not a bonus lecture. This is something that you should actually watch for sure in this class. This is going to save you hours and hours, if not days and days of time. Trust me. You want to know how to do this. Here's the video you're watching right now. If you're bored to death, you watch this video here first because I show you how to use YouTube if you don't yet already know how to speed up all your videos so you can watch this all at 2 times normal speed and get through my carrying on much faster. Your first assignment is outlined in these lectures right here. First of all, you need to understand what's going on with Git. This is the version control system we're going to use. If you don't use this correctly, you cannot hand in your homework. You must understand what's going on. I go over that in this lecture. This one right here, GitHub, which is where we store all your files and things, changed how they work last year and mandate that we use something like this, okay? You have to know how to use this. This lecture will be recorded and uploaded right after this one. one. This here, I'll show you how to do the minimum number of steps on Turing and Hopper to get your SSH stuff configured on that machine. There's an article right here on GitHub where they go over some of the details as well, but this is a more general purpose document. There's things in here you don't need to use, and it can cause confusion. So you're probably, if you don't know how to use GitHub, and you don't know, or more accurately, if you don't know how to use SSH, and this is your first time, trust me, you want to watch that lecture. Then this lecture down here, once you get your SSH stuff set up and you can log into GitHub and that account has all been set up and everything else, this is a complete walkthrough of your first assignment. I show you every little step in here, okay? So we walk through the entire process. That's the whole point of these lectures right here. Okay, now you'll see handouts and things or slides in there. That's what you get links to down here. The various cheat sheets from GitHub and PDF handouts that we give out in this class as well. All right. If you really want to know more and get the bigger picture, there's a whole there's tutorials and things online around the web. That's what these links are for down here. All right. These are the lectures for the class. These are the handouts specifically for the class and are mentioned in the lectures. And the web links down here are additional information, Wikipedia pages and things like that. Okay. Now the next green bar lecture, Doxygen, how to document your files. Here's your lecture, here's your handouts, and here's the Doxygen, the manuals for Doxygen itself if you want to know more, which again are seen in the lectures as well. Okay. So, and from there on, it just keeps on going and going and going until we run into a final exam and take a break in the summer and all relax. Okay, so this is how the whole thing I hope will work. I hope we get back to face-to-face so we can have some real classes again. But if meanwhile, I'm sorry, you know, they're all the recorded lectures. Work your way through them. And we'll at least see you online, if not in person, next week. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.